Call last week during the bye, you'd said that you were confident you guys could turn this around because you had a plan in place that you believed in, and you were confident you guys could execute that. Can you just kind of describe what the plan, what that means to you, what you guys are trying to stick to going forward?
Well, yeah, I think in a lot of ways it's what we've been built upon for a long, long time, and continuing to reinforce, to stress, to emphasize all the things that go into that, and whether that's older guys not necessarily doing everything that they should do, younger guys not realizing the importance of certain elements, whether that's on the field or off the field, reinforcing that process and hammering all those things home, making sure everybody's on the same page from many different aspects. And so it was a productive week that way. I think we got healthier physically, healthier mentally, and well, sorry, somebody in the back there, and we'll forge ahead.
Chantel, Rachel. Okay, go ahead, Chantel.
Mark, during a stretch like this, how important is it to sort of have those individual guys in the locker room that are really your go-to leaders?
Yeah, leadership is important during every phase of it. Again, there's a lot of times when things are going great, when that's even more important to bring guys back down to earth. Times like these, certainly character is revealed, and guys expose themselves for who they are, and again, for the vast majority of our guys, they're doing, or at least trying to do, the right things. But certainly we take pride in who our guys are, and how they've reacted has been, again, positive to not an ideal situation.
Can I have a follow-up?
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry. So I guess I was just, like, the 2014 season, you had Marcus, you had Hronis, sort of Ifo, those guys that were your guys. Mm-hmm. Do you feel like this team has those guys?
Well, yes. That was one thing going into the season. We knew that there was a little bit of a void in some of the leadership roles. And unfortunately, some of those guys that have been those guys, whether it's Devin Allen, Dwayne Stanford, Johnny Reagan, some of those guys aren't in there. And so that's where we as coaches and some other voices have to step up and fill those voids.
Warren.
Mark, the identity of this football program has been win the day, faceless opponent, tempo, things like that. Have you seen a shift of that identity change at all, or are you still reinforcing all those things that you've always done?
Absolutely. And that's again, that whenever you're not in an ideal situation from a record standpoint, it's this one thing that that's the difference, and or this one person's perspective of that one thing, and we know what our shortcomings are, and again, that starts with our coaches, myself first and foremost, in identifying, realizing, and then solving some of those things. But we haven't changed. I don't want to say we haven't changed a thing, but certainly from that standpoint, are we doing those things perfectly? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. We're not, executing in the fashion that we want to in any phase. And again, I don't know if we ever have, even in the, the glory years way back when.
Preston.
Coach, 2-4 right now, halfway through the season. Looking back on the first 6 games, how would you, if you had to give yourself a letter grade for how you personally have coached? I know it's incomplete or whatever, but I mean, for the first 6 games that have been completed, as you look back, what's your letter grade for yourself?
2-4.
Okay.
I mean, there's not. It's always incomplete. It's always incomplete. You have to always be chasing something, whether we're 6-0 or 4-2 or 2-4 or whatever, you're always incomplete.
Back to Kristen.
Don Pelham was kind of ecstatic coming out of today's practice, really happy with how his defensive guys played, talking with some of the guys like Tony Brooks-James yesterday. He was really happy with how practice has gone. You guys have said that you practice really, really well, and even coming out of the bye week, it seems like you guys have elevated that even more. How much are you either holding your breath and hoping that it can finally translate over onto the field on Friday?
Well, I won't hold my breath, contrary to maybe somebody's wish around here, but It's no, that again is one thing. I was kind of shaking my head in the middle of that question, because that's one thing that you try to, ramp everything up in practice, and make it. We want practice to be harder. Training is harder than the games, and that's one thing that our guys have. Again, not 100%, but you're never 100%. The vast majority of guys have bought into and have trained to that level. And now it's a matter of, hey, when you're going against this guy who's a fifth-year senior and you're a redshirt freshman or whatever, whatever the matchup is, and there's 50,000 people screaming at you, or whatever the situation is, you execute exactly how you did in practice. And that's it. That's all we need. Nothing more, nothing less. And, when there's a hesitation, or you don't communicate maybe as well as you do, or whatever it is, and that's where, again, we have to look at that as coaches of, okay, is it the person doing it? Is it what we're asking them to do? Is it you trying to be in there every snap of practice and tell them what to do, which we can't do that. That's where you're just trying to find that little special sauce there to make it happen on game day.
Andrew Wright.
Some of the players, it's pretty obvious that they haven't struggled like this in a long time. They're trying to figure out how to process this and get through it, and how to dig themselves out of a hole like this. Do you pull from any experience coaching? Say at Colorado when things weren't going all that well. Are there past experiences that you can apply in this situation for yourself?
Yeah. Again, I think you treat the whys of things the same. Why did a play work when it was whatever? Royce Freeman making three guys miss and scoring a touchdown against whoever that was, Virginia, or whoever that was, first or second game. That we didn't execute that play. We didn't execute that play well. It was one guy, making three guys miss. And so that kind of situation, you're coaching and fixing just as much as, a blown coverage or a misfit gap or whatever. You know what I mean? They're both incorrect, and realizing that you can improve in all those situations, realizing that it's you owning yourself first and then your teammate second, and just continually striving to improve. That's it. That's it. That it's not any more or less difficult than that. It's you managing yourself and your teammate second. Again, part of that is us. Part of that is coaches. There's a lot of factors that go into it, but it's really simple in a lot of ways, which makes it that much more frustrating.
Coach, because recruiting is an inexact science, sometimes a player may not meet the expectations after his career is over that you had for him when you offered him out of high school. If and when that happens, how much personal responsibility as a coach do you put on yourself?
Me personally, yeah, I mean, it's 100% on us. I think you're always constantly evaluating how you evaluate, right? Of how trying to find the best way to get to know player X at high school Y, trying to figure out, get the true story on Johnny Blue Chip, and trying to figure out, okay, so the information we got on this guy, why did this not work? Was it the physical thing? Was it a mental thing? All the factors that go into it. A lot of that stuff you've got to talk to those guys just right off the bat, and sometimes it's the most highly recruited guy or the highly ranked guy that shows up, and he's not the best player in line. He's not the best player at his position, and that's a psychological blow for those guys sometimes that it takes a while for them to overcome. Whether that's their feeling of inadequacy for that moment, or they're feeling like they're letting you down. There's a lot of different kind of psychological things that go into it.
Cal's receivers are almost entirely new from where they were last year, and then Hansen in particular. What have you seen from him and this just overall group of receivers, and how they stack up from what you've seen?
Yeah, well, obviously, the transfers of the quarterback and then Hansen, those guys they've got tremendous chemistry, unbelievable chemistry, and then the guys just keep coming. Just a great group of guys who can go get it. A couple guys that can really stretch the field vertically, and the way they deploy guys, kind of in the way that Coach Spavital's done it a long time. Kind of a run just enough to make you honor it and open up a bunch of play action holes. They've done a great job of it, and I think it starts with Webb for sure, and then Hansen will be all over the field.
Coach, obviously kind of a hard thing to predict, but how different do you think things could have been this year if we had a healthy Royce Freeman?
I have no idea. I mean, we need to worry about whoever's in the game executing at a very high level, and the backup tailbacks have been very productive.
Okay, Tyson.
When kind of just like speaking to like momentum and confidence for some of these younger players and whatnot, this might seem overly simplistic, but just how much would a win this week mean to them, and just what could a win do for this team?
That's one thing immeasurable. I think just the confidence that would come from, again, the preparation has been good. Now just go out and trust it, man. Go out and cut it loose, and don't worry about the what if and the might could and all the stuff that enters that psyche, the fragile psyche of some of these guys, and that can only happen, unfortunately, with experience and going out and maybe getting kicked in the face every once in a while, but then go out and come back and make it right. But that I think that's one of those things, again, that the seeing the final score and that, but again, that's not going to be the end all be all either. Got to come back the next week and make it happen again.
Nicole.
Coach, you've probably touched on this a little bit, but have you had a personal message for the team this week in order, to get them rallied, and has that been difficult to do?
We had a million meetings, not a million, that's an exaggeration. We had several meetings last week, and again, guys are on the same page, and they have worked. Back to what DP was saying, it was very spirited yesterday. Kind of challenged the defense yesterday. They bounced back today, and that's, again, when you're getting individually with a bunch of guys, that those personal messages are individualized, and you're getting in their in their heads differently if it's whoever, Justin Herbert versus somebody with experience, Henry Mondu, or somebody else down the line.
Joey.
In the past, defensive guys have talked about how they're kind of fueled by the offense's firepower and success. Does that work both ways? Offense fuels defense, defense fueled by offense, and then positively, negatively, vice versa? Sure. That's one of those things where you have to complement one another. And, every unit, every individual should go back to how does my job affect the team? How great can I do my job that will then cascade down to affect everybody. But yeah, that can certainly, whether it's positive mindset, negative mindset, leading to momentum, absolutely. Gotta stop it though.
After Washington State, you weren't willing to say that Dwayne Stanford and Reagan were out for injuries, and Johnny got carted off the field, and a couple of days ago we saw him walking with very little of a brace and minimal limp. Do you anticipate those guys maybe available at some point this season? Maybe not this week, but is there a bit hopeful?
I'm a hopeful guy.
Tyson.
Did you watch the game day piece?
I did not, no.
Do you think players did, or that's been like kind of the most focal kind of national stage that this has been presented on?
I don't know. I didn't ask around on that. Yeah.
Back up. We're going to wrap it up here quickly, but go ahead.
No more letter grade questions, I promise. What's kind of the attitude you want your team to take? I mean, Coach Neal was saying yesterday the attitude's been great. Obviously, Cameron Hunt's comments last week were well documented that he wasn't happy with some of the team's attitude. I mean, do you want your guys to play angry or stay positive? How do you want them to kind of approach the second half of the season from that standpoint?
Yeah, I want them to compete their tails off, and that's different. Some guys need that edge of anger. Some guys need to play loose and confident. There's different, guys are different from an offensive standpoint, special teams, defense. They're all, individually, crafted, and that's we want to play together and fight our butts off. And that those guys, I've done that to a large extent, and that's where we got to find out and put them in slightly different spots, or twist it here and there, or limit this, limit that, add, to play to each one of these individuals, but to, continue to fight.
Warren?
Mark, Coach Neal gives you a lot of credit for keeping this thing together. When you guys go in a war room as a staff, What are those conversations like? Is there more angst among you? More emphasis on got to get a win, got to get a win. What are those meetings like?
Yeah, it's not we got to get a win. I mean that's obviously the result of a bunch of stuff that you do right and well. Now, wouldn't hurt, as we talked about before, to get that just for the mindset of everybody. It depends, you know. When we meet with the offensive staff or the special teams or the defense, those are different conversations. And then collectively, again, we got to stick together. It's not you know, the D-line coach needs to worry about the offense or the offensive line coach needs to worry about that doesn't help at all. That's what other people do. We have to handle each unit, each individual, and come together and compete our face off.